Kicking off our Women's History Month Cougar Chat series by welcoming in a great colleague of mine in the Chicago State Athletic Department, Jessica Poole, the Executive Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Operations and Revenue Generation. Jessica, welcome in.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me, Sam.
Honored to have you here with me, Jessica. I want to go back all the way to the beginning, if you'll bear
Okay.
with me.
Sure.
When you were a little kid, tell me about when sports first entered your life.
From the very beginning, I think I grew up in a family of sports lovers, lots of uncles, a brother, a dad that really loved sports. So I played sports growing up, and it's just something that I enjoyed and knew that I wanted to do something with writing and sports eventually. So I got the passion for sports right at my house.
When did that come in? Because I'm similar with the sports writing. When did the playing become the writing?
I probably in college. It became clear that I could meld the two in college.
You went to Mizzou, the first journalism school.
The best
you were a Tiger.
journalism school.
The first journalism school, certainly. I'm actually representing little Mizzou colors today. So tell me about your college experience studying journalism and the role of athletics in that.
Sure. So I went to Missouri for journalism for sure. I was one of the few freshmen that was admitted into the J school. So I took that opportunity and kind of ran with it. Mizzou was an awesome experience for me because I literally was able to meld and make my own major. I talked to my professors and I said, hey, I'm really interested in writing about sports. There's only these tracks. What can we do? So I was able to kind of create a major that kind of actually still lives at Mizzou. And I eventually started working in the athletic department. Some of my guy friends were on the men's basketball team, and it was kind of a way for us to like hang out, but not really be hanging out. So I started working their games and the sports info department, and then it just kind of stuck. I was good at it. I traveled with our softball team. I was looking back on it, I was probably the only student to ever travel with a team. And I traveled with them while I was in school, which was, gives me a little bit of insight of how athletes, what they have to do and go through, because I was doing the exact same thing. But yeah, I just kind of fell into it. It stuck. By the time I was a senior, I was in charge of the tennis team all by myself. So yeah, and from there, it just kind of, I was a comms person from college on.
I'm getting big time entrepreneur vibes from you, right? You made your own major. You just sort of ran the tennis team. You became the first student to travel, created your own college experience. What was behind that vision you had?
I think I just really wanted to make sure that I was getting the most out of the college experience. I think sometimes we can go through things and like be very tunnel vision and only get out kind of what we're supposed to. And I saw some different openings and just kind of ran with things. I think that's a little bit of who I am as a person. So that's kind of the story behind that. I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave any stone unturned at Mizzou, and made sure that I was getting the most out of the education, whether it was, the academic side of it or kind of melding the athletic side of it. I just didn't want to leave any stone unturned. And also it gave me an opportunity to really try a bunch of different things and see what I was really interested in and really passionate about. Because I think when sometimes you think you're really passionate about something going into it, and then it can change, or you can find something that you're more passionate about. And so I was able to really explore all of those options during my 4 years at Missouri. So shout out to Mizzou for giving me that opportunity.
On the shout out note, as you made this transition from a young athlete to someone interested in writing to then a full-blown comms professional, who's a mentor who really helped you in that path?
Oh gosh, there's wow, too many to name, but I think probably the most influential is Chad Moeller and Whitney Vernew from both formerly of the Missouri Strategic Communication staff. Whitney really taught me, you know, everything I know about comms. She gave me the opportunity to learn how to do stats. She gave me the opportunity to learn how to just be a professional in the industry. And then Chad was in charge of our office and really just somebody that I looked up to and actually still look up to. You know, I learned how to run an office from him. I learned how to balance work life. Like all of those things are things that I learned at a really young age from my peeps at Missouri, who I still keep in touch with, who I still am very close with.
So from Missouri, now Missouri wasn't in the SEC when you were there.
Nope, they
Right.
were in the Big
Still
12.
Big 12? Okay. But then you became an SEC person very quickly. Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, and you made immediate impacts there. Can you take me through the early steps of your career?
Sure. Do you want? So I started out. I think the most important pieces are the intern pieces, actually. So I was an intern at the University of Denver, and I was actually the last intern that the University of Denver had before they moved everyone to full-time positions. But there, I did
ever
that right.
intern.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You were the first in a lot of things, but also the last in that one.
Yes. Yes. I learned a ton of things about working in a small school in a major media market there, and also got a lot of opportunity to do stuff, and was with that program. I worked with a lot of different programs there, hockey, lacrosse. So just gave me a unique experience. But then I also dovetailed and kind of took a step out of the college realm and worked with the ATP Tour for about 10 months maybe, promoting their doubles teams. And that was also a really unique experience because it gave me perspective of whether I wanted to be in pro sports or whether I wanted to be in college, and overwhelmingly wanted to be in college. Love my ATP folks and still keep in touch with them to this day. Loved getting the tennis experience because I love tennis, but I think it became very clear that I'm a college athletics person. So from there, kind of bounced around a little bit. I worked at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. I worked at the University of Michigan. I worked at Dartmouth, and then I do fall into the SEC person. I was at Ole Miss for 4 years, and then at Vanderbilt for a year. And the SEC's, to take their slogan, it just means more. They have the best athletes. I cut my teeth in the comms industry in women's basketball, and the SEC by far has the best women's basketball league. So I was able to glean a lot from there, and then also was a secondary football contact there. So again, also really good football. I love the SEC. I will not go as far to say that they are the best football league yet. I am still a Big Ten girl at heart when it comes to football.
So I want to zone in for a moment, Jessica, on your time at Vanderbilt, because
Sure.
you helped with the women's basketball advancement program there. That was, from what I understand, one of your babies, essentially, at Vanderbilt. So can you tell me a bit about what that was?
Sure. It was a program the NCAA put together for schools that had attendance issues, essentially. And obviously, Vanderbilt being in Nashville, there's a lot of different things clamoring for people's attention. And so I put together a grant. I wouldn't say a grant, but I wrote a proposal. We applied to the program and we were selected. And what we did is basically worked on how to increase attendance while also increasing exposure, brand identity, and all of those things amongst the crowded Nashville marketplace. It was really cool. We put together, we worked with a local marketing professional. We worked with some other folks just in the Nashville area on a partnership basis to see what we could do. And we had some success. we put together some events, we brainstormed some events, happy hours, connecting with schools, just any and everything to kind of see how we could drive attendance. It was really fun, but again, you see fruits at certain times, and I think that Vanderbilt will continue to see their attendance increase for women's basketball. But it was neat to be on the ground floor of that project. It was I'm actually not sure the NCAA still does that program anymore, but it was really neat to be chosen and for us to work with the NCAA, a marketing professional, and then also just our local marketing staff and our corporate sponsors. So it was a fun time.
What did that year teach you about growing women's sports and the role of that?
It's really important. I think that it can be done. If you look at places like UConn, Tennessee, Alabama, for Alabama softball, I think that the key, the common denominator there is winning. I think that South Carolina is a great example of what I'd like to do everywhere I'm at. When Dawn Staley took over South Carolina women's basketball, they were last in the maybe not last in the SEC in attendance, but didn't have much attendance. They weren't very good, but she made it personal, and she personally, as a coach, went out and found people to come to her games, and she created an atmosphere among her program that they felt invested. They have their booster kind of club is called the G Hive. They really make it feel like it's more than just a basketball, it's a familial experience. And that's kind of the example. That's what I want to do at Chicago State. That's what I want to do at every stop I'm at, is create an experience where people feel invested, people feel some ownership of the program. And I think that women's sports have, quite honestly, an advantage in that area because of the accessibility. Women's sports tend to be really accessible. They're the sports that are always doing the autograph sessions. Their student athletes are always in the community. Not to say that our male athletes don't have that affinity, but sometimes it's just harder because there are 22,000 fans. You can only do so much. Sometimes it's just harder with women's sports. I think that both the student athletes and the fans are really looking for that accessibility and connection. And I think that once you hit that sweet spot, that's when things really start to grow and attendance starts to increase exponentially.
You alluded to your vision of what you want to accomplish here at Chicago State. Now, I'm fortunate to work very closely with you, but most of our viewers don't. So tell me a bit about what your vision is.
I think really, I want to create an atmosphere, culture, and environment where Chicago State is really the Southside's team. I want, across the board, across all sports, I want people to know who the Cougars are. I want people to feel connected to our programs, our student athletes, and our coaches. And more than anything, I want people to take a lot of pride in the product that we put on the court, the folks that are coaching, and just our university and our department. I mean, if at the bare minimum, that's what I want to do. I want people to feel as if they are connected to our program and connected to our student athletes. And however we can do that, whether that's monetarily via giving, whether that's, buying tickets and coming to every game, whether that's through a corporate sponsorship or a partnership, those are all really vital things that play a role in pushing our department forward. And that's kind of what I want to see and what my mission is to do here. So that's my vision for us. If I want to be able to look back and say, Chicago State has 10,000 fans a game. If we have 10,000 fans a game, it's actually not good because our arena does not hold that many people.
We got a fire hazard.
We would have a fire hazard, but I want 10,000 people to want to come to our games and cheer on the Cougars. And I want to say that we built that. I think that it's important to, understand that there's a lot of hard work at the front end. Most people see the fruits of the labor, but there's a lot of work that goes into the front end of it. And I'm honored and humbled and proud to say that we are taking steps at the front end to make that a reality.
Absolutely. I can speak firsthand at all the front end work that's happening behind the scenes. So, Jessica, I mentioned you in college as this entrepreneur who just made your own experience. In addition to your role at Chicago State, you're also set to become COSIDA's first ever African-American female president. And you also recently won the Haberbeck Award from COSIDA. What does it mean to you to win that award and then also to soon become president of the organization?
Wow. Humbling. To both of those things are very humbling. For me, to win an award named after Mary Jo Haverback is, leaves me speechless a little bit. Mary Jo was a trailblazer in our industry. She fought for women in this profession. And I would not be in the position that I am without Mary Jo. So to win an award in her honor is really special. That's about as much as I can say without getting a little emotional. So it's really an awesome thing, and I'm blessed to be in that position. Becoming COSIDA's first Black female president is also very humbling, but it's also a huge responsibility in my mind. Carolyn Peck told me once, it's nice to be first, but I don't want to be the only. And I think that is the mindset that I take into my presidency, is that I want to really make everyone know that this is a possibility for young professionals, to ascend to this role. And there may not be many African-American Black members of COSIDA, male or female, but we can do this. We are capable of this, and that's a big responsibility. It's not something I take lightly. And so I'm looking forward to my presidential year and continuing to grow our organization, bring more people into the organization, and see how we can grow the industry and really diversify the industry. That's really important to me. So I'm excited about the award, and I'm really excited about the presidency year.
So someone who just kind of started doing communications as a side gig in college, created it, is soon going to be the president of the organization that oversees all of that going on in the country. So in that spirit, Jessica, what's one lesson or message you would like to leave with viewers?
Gosh, you can, this is really cliche, but you can do whatever you want. I think that I'm a pretty good example of that, right? Like, I went to college and kind of made my own path to this. At some point, I also kind of made my own path into administration. It's not typical for SIDs, comms folks to be in the position that I'm in at Chicago State and was in at FAU. I think that at some point you have to believe in yourself, and I think that you can do whatever you want to do when you put your mind to something. It's all about you. Don't worry about the barriers that are in front of you. Don't worry about what it looks like to other people. Your journey is your journey. And you should be proud of that journey wherever it takes you, whatever valleys, whatever mountains, you should be proud of that journey. And it's all a part of what makes each of us unique, in ourselves, in our professional and personal lives. I think that that's something that I've, really honed in on, is that you can do whatever you want, in whatever order you want to do it. You can do whatever you want.
And there's no one path. And
exactly.
There are very few people who illustrate that more than you. So, Jessica, thank you for joining me today.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Sam.